My husband, 59, and I, 53, have been together for 10 years, married 8. My kids and I stayed with him for about 3 months after we met. He was behind on all his bills, and I took over all household expenses except the mortgage, $550 a month. I had a decent career and could almost afford to do this, but I lost my small house because I couldn't afford to keep it and pay the other expenses. He filed a quitclaim when we married, legally adding me to his property deed. Last year, he was offered a job 2 states away. The kids were grown and moved out, so I resigned from my position. We sold the house and have been living in a travel trailer on campgrounds in our new state. We used the proceeds from the sale to buy 2 decent used vehicles, an older model camper we live in, and put the rest in a savings account in my name because no bank will give him an account due to past banking history. We plan to use this to buy property in our new state when we found what we wanted. I found a job making much less than my previous and net about $700 every 2 weeks. His hourly is 2.5 times mine. He still pays no living expenses, and I've had to use a bit of our monthly savings to keep everything paid. The lot rent alone is $800. He's recently started his 4th job since we moved. A month after getting his 3rd job, he told them he was looking for a new one, and they let him go. He had nothing lined up and has gone 6 weeks with no paycheck. I put fuel in his truck, bought him tobacco, and kept the bills paid. Friday morning, I was leaving to visit my kids in our home state. After leaving for work, he texted and told me to leave him $100 and that he would be paid on Monday. I only carry a little cash, knowing at most he only needed fuel for the 30 miles to work Monday morning. I left the $15 I had and headed out. About halfway there, I got another text message that said they were holding his first check and I needed to give him $500 for the week. He got very angry when I didn't turn around and go back and give him the cash I didn't have, and he told me to stay the heck up there. When I got to our home state, I sent him $175 of the $200 in my checking account via Western Union because it was an instant transfer versus 3 to 4 days from a bank account. He called and cussed me out, saying it wasn't enough to get him through the week, even though he's only working 3 days due to a holiday. He again demanded that I send him $500. I said $190 should be plenty for fuel, and he again told me not to bother coming back. He said that since I blew $500 over Labor Day for my share of airfare, hotel, and rental car to travel with my 2 oldest children, 32 and 30, to attend the unexpected funeral of their father, I owe him that much from savings. Am I the idiot for refusing to send him more than he could need, and almost as much as I bring home in 2 weeks, knowing he isn't paying any bills? Honey, your husband has told you to stay away, and I think you should listen to him. Even though he's financially abusive and telling you to stay away from him, he's giving you sound advice. You need to take control of your own life immediately. Not the idiot for not sending money. You will be if you go back. Do exactly what your husband told you to, and stay away. It's his attempt to make her panic and get her back under his control. Unfortunately, I think it's going to work, and her life will go on this way, and she'll be an old lady with nothing because she gave it all to this tyrant. This dude sounds like a total loser. He can't manage his finances. His history's so bad that he can't even get a bank account, and he can't keep a job. OP, he said it to keep you feeling guilty, so you feel like you owe him all this. But I think he won't expect you to take his stay there command seriously. And please, for your happiness and good, take it seriously. I think it is indeed the best choice to stay away from him. This financial abuse will end now, and it's not easy at all leaving a situation like this. But try to, OP. Get your career back on track and use your share of the house sale to get a home wherever works best for you and cut this loser loose. You gave up everything to be with this sponge to the detriment of your family. I hope you realize that one day soon. My girlfriend and I have been together for 3 years, and we moved in April. She's a great cook and learned from her Italian grandma, but she can make almost anything under the sun. She traveled a lot when she was younger and loved Asian food the most. I thought I was a good cook, but she says my cooking is terrible. She took over the cooking now that we live together and tried to teach me but got impatient because she thought I wasn't trying. I am, but she gets mad when I don't get it the first time, and I don't think she's that great of a teacher. She got mad because I didn't check if my chicken was done by cutting into it and making sure it wasn't pink. I usually just poke it like she does, but she insists I should cut into it because I'm not very experienced. Recently, she's wanted me to cook once a week, and I've been trying, even though it's not coming out very well. She's a way better cook, so why doesn't she just cook? She clearly enjoys it, but she insists I have to learn. I can feed myself, but I don't feel the need to get it as good as her. Clearly her food is better, but I can survive on my cooking, so it's good enough for me. Anyway, I cooked chicken and broccoli, and she ate a few pieces and then got up and cut up the chicken, and it was pink. She got really angry and yelled at me for trying to give her food poisoning. It's just a mistake, and I apologized, but she had it for a few days and had to miss work. Now she won't cook for me and just cooks for herself. I usually eat out now that she doesn't pack me Tupperware, and it's really sad because it's one of the things I really enjoy, sitting down for lunch and seeing what she made me. I told her she's punishing me for no reason, and she's gotten mad and told me I intentionally didn't cook the chicken right, and I'm always expecting her to cook, like I'm a kid. I'm pretty angry by her comments, and we've argued over it, but I guess it's her right not to cook for me. So am I the idiot for wanting my girlfriend to cook for me after I gave her food poisoning? Dude, do you even know what kind of damage a raw chicken can do to somebody? My brother got salmonella from undercooked chicken in college. He was in the hospital for a week. He almost died. You could have killed your girlfriend, and your major concern is that she's no longer cooking for you? That you don't get your lunch packed for you every day like a child does? Jesus, man, do you even like her? Sorry about your brother. I hope he's doing okay now. Food safety is essential. Also, did OP not eat the same meal? Where's their food poisoning? Did they wait until the girlfriend ate some on purpose? Sounds sketchy and not particularly like an accident. And whining that she won't pack the leftovers when she's not even eating the takeout is just screwing ridiculous and lazy. OP probably has a cast iron stomach from all the bacteria he's been shoving in with his own cooking. It sounds like you weaponized your incompetence to try to force her to cook 7 days a week. This means you're an idiot, because if you can't bring yourself to learn well enough to cook a little bit without poisoning people, then you're not even trying, and it means you're taking her for granted. After all, why shouldn't she do all that work for you without a break? Yikes. My wife, 29, and I, 30 male, held a gender reveal for our first child yesterday. It was my wife's idea since she, her parents, and others wanted to know the gender. I don't care what the gender is as long as it's healthy. My mother-in-law and father-in-law wanted it to be a boy because they always wanted a son, but had 2 daughters instead. My wife also wanted it to be a boy, but only because of her parents. She didn't care much either way. It was a small gathering with just a few friends and close family members. After it was revealed that the baby was a girl, my mother-in-law walked away and got very upset, and my father-in-law looked disappointed. After around 10 minutes, I went into the garden to see my mother-in-law crying. I asked her what was wrong, and she said that she really wanted a grandson. I told her I was sorry she was disappointed, but it didn't matter that much, and she got annoyed at me. At this point, my father-in-law had joined us and heard what I said to her. He told me I should be sad too, since I wouldn't be able to teach the baby about cars. I'm a mechanic, and I joked a few times about getting the baby to follow in my footsteps. I told him she might be interested in cars when she's older, so I don't understand how that's relevant. They were saying many things about what they can't do now because she's a girl, like taking her to sports games and teaching her about sports. They said that I'll be missing out on giving a son the talk and girls. I don't really care that much about that. But what if the baby likes girls? So their argument is pretty weak. They said a few other things about why they wanted her to be a boy, but I just walked away and returned inside. My mother-in-law and father-in-law explained the whole argument to my wife, and she got really angry at me. She said that I should have comforted them and had at least a bit of sympathy. I just don't understand why the gender is such a big deal. Shouldn't they just be happy they're getting a grandchild? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If a granddaughter is such a big disappointment that grandma would cry about it, OMG, holy overreaction, Batman, then maybe the grandparents just don't see their granddaughter very much, at all. What a toxic, misogynistic family. Make it crystal clear, you never want any of this kind of gender bias spoken of around your children. In-laws need to grow up. Set your wife straight too. Ridiculous. The sad thing is, mom and wife likely grew up consoling her parents for being a girl. I had a friend like this who grew up with tremendous guilt for not being the son they needed. OP, if you happen to have a second child and the gender of that child is male, your mother-in-law and father-in-law may be showing blatant favoritism. You'll need to iron it out with them if that scenario happens, and make sure your wife doesn't continue the nonsense into the next generation of putting limits on your baby daughter as her parents put on her. Have you comfort them? For what? And it's yours and their daughters. They should be delighted. If they wanted a boy, they should at most be slightly disappointed. They're instead assigning gender roles and moaning because girls can't do X, girls can't do Y, etc. They don't deserve comfort or sympathy for placing imaginary limits on your daughter. This implies they did the same to your wife. Seriously, there were so many red flags in that family. About a year ago, my daughter-in-law opened a restaurant. My son is not involved and works full-time. I've eaten there when I visited their city and was not impressed. The food is decent but inconsistent, and that's about the only good thing I can say about her place. The soup is always lukewarm, and sometimes the dishes are hotter than the food. The staff was rude and spent most of their time either on their phone or in groups talking. This meant it took longer than necessary to clean tables after diners had already left. On my last visit, the table next to me was empty, yet full of dirty dishes for the duration of my meal. The restroom was never clean on any of my visits and was out of soap more times than it had soap. Last night, I had my children and their families over for Sunday dinner. During my visit, my daughter-in-law asked me for a $100,000 loan for her restaurant. She told me how her business is inconsistent and that it's caused her to burn through her savings. We spoke for a while until I offered to loan it to her, but with some changes. I told her about the problems that I listed above and options on how to fix them. She got very agitated at this and sarcastically asked how many restaurants I've owned. I didn't appreciate her response, so I answered, "None, but I've never skydived before, but I know enough not to jump out of the plane without a parachute." That got the attention of everyone at the dinner table. Eventually, she said the restaurant is hers. She doesn't need suggestions from someone who's never run one before. I'll give her this point, and that I'm a control freak to try to tell her what to do with her own business. At this point, I withdrew my loan offer, and dinner was pretty much over, and they left to go home instead of the original plan of staying until Tuesday. I haven't heard from my son this morning, but his siblings are split on this issue. Some say it's my choice to loan or not loan her the money, but I shouldn't tell her what she needs to do. Others said I'm right, that if I'm putting my money at risk, I have a say on how she's running her place. Am I the idiot for pulling my offer to loan my daughter-in-law money? Not the idiot. She's asking for a large loan. You are understandably worried about if she'll be able to repay you. Giving opinions on how to increase business to ensure your loan is a good decision on your part is valid. It's your money and your choice. If it doesn't seem like a good investment, don't do it. Definitely do not loan her money, OP. I can't believe her husband's not paying attention to the finances. There's a reason the bank won't loan her the money. When banks loan that kind of money for your business, they make you show all sorts of crap that proves your business is successful enough to pay it back. That's why she's asking her father-in-law. She probably already got turned down by lending institutions. Seriously, the in-laws are always the last person you ask for a loan. I would stop calling it a loan. The only way you get that money back is if the business succeeds. This makes you a partner. Do you really want to go into business with your family? With this family member? My biggest rule regarding loans is never loan anything you wouldn't be fine with losing. If you're at a point where you're financially comfortable and emotionally comfortable with the possibility of losing $100K, then go for it. Otherwise, I'd refuse without a legal path and a contract to get your money back. Agree, $100,000 is not just a loan, it's a financial investment. She's asking you to be an investor in the business, and that comes with certain legal rights. And she has a fiduciary responsibility to spend that money wisely, particularly if that money, as she stated, is a loan. Dollars to donuts, she has zero intentions of paying this money back. I'd be willing to bet that she has zero plans to change anything and just wants more cash flow to keep herself out of bankruptcy, because she sounds like she's in love with the idea of owning a restaurant rather than the reality of running one. I just had my beautiful baby girl, Willow. Our family's tradition is to announce the name just when the baby's born, so everyone found out just about 8 days ago. I believe Willow was such a beautiful name, and so does my partner, but we got very mixed reactions from our families. Some people liked it as well, but so many people say that I just as well could have named my baby Tree, and it would have been the same. Especially my older sister keeps telling me that I ruined my baby's future by giving her a tree name, and that she'll be bullied and won't get any respect when she grows up. I feel incredibly guilty. Will this name have these ramifications? Am I the idiot? Edit. She has twins called Rosalie and Annalie. Oh, I knew she was the type to name their kids with the dreaded Lee or Lynn or Lay at the ends of all their names. That's a real tragedy. Willow is a beautiful name. It's not a decision some of your family get to make. Maybe politely suggest that when they have children, they can call them what they want. I love names that take after nature. Willow, elm, birch, autumn. Not the idiot. Oh gosh, people always pull out the "they'll get bullied" line. It's ridiculous. Willow is an absolutely lovely name. Don't worry about it. It's not your family's decision. Your daughter won't be bullied for being named after a tree by any kid, maybe her aunt, but not by anyone else. Willow really is a beautiful name, and it's also a real name, unlike, I don't know, Apple or whatever. It's definitely not a tree name. It's so disrespectful to you, your husband, and your child to make such a scene because of that. If they don't like it, that's totally fine, but general manners are to not insult a newborn's name. Your sister for sure is an idiot, and not a small one at that. Future name ideas: birch, ginkgo, banyan, maple. Also, when you refer your daughter to her, call her your little sapling. I feel like that could really grind her gears.